And out of that, I believe, grew our brown bag lunch program, and has grown out so many things that we as a congregation get to do every month together to remind ourselves that there are always those who are less fortunate than ourselves. What's been interesting in this year of economic change is that many of us in this congregation have had benefits from the very ministries that we once gave to. You know, last week, I think it was Chuck Phelan who got up to ask for the offering and told us about the Paul Gromberg Benevolence Fund in our own congregation, and the number of people in our own church who have benefited from the abundance that some others within the congregation have received. And week in and week out, members of our own congregation come to our own food pantry to be able to receive enough food just to get them through the next week. I don't know about you, but that puts a sober thought for me on my own plate. Last week at the Odyssey, there was so much food left over. I stayed till the very end. And I asked if I could have a doggy bag. And they said that it was not their policy on buffet days. And so I asked, what do you do with all this food? And they said it just gets thrown away. It sat heavy on my heart. Of course, that amount of food sat heavy in my stomach too, but it sat heavy on my heart. And it reminded me again and again of my own spiritual practice. That whilst I may be fed today, it's important for me to find a way in which I can make sure that someone who did not get fed is able to get fed from the bounty that I received. Today, as we think about gluttony, we cannot avoid the reality that our world is a gluttonous place, that there is so much food to go around, and that we waste so much food. Today, we're mindful of Chile, an earthquake, 8.8 on the Richter scale. They say that the aftershocks were 1 an hour for about 35 hours, and that some of those aftershocks were bigger than any earthquake that we've actually had here in Los Angeles. And many of us know what the Northridge earthquake was like just a few years ago. I imagine what they must be thinking this morning about how we can now respond from our abundance, perhaps cutting back just a little bit on our own daily bread so that we can afford to send a little bit more to our sisters and brothers in Chile, as we did to our sisters and brothers in Haiti just a few weeks ago. I don't believe that we are called today to beat ourselves up because we have food on our plate. But I do believe that we are called as spiritual people to ask ourselves if we are only concerned about making sure that there is enough on our plate without thinking of what there is for others, then we have missed the mark on what Jesus invites us to. In the Gospels, Jesus was asked this very question. And Jesus said that when you arrive at a banquet, don't take the highest place, but make sure that everyone else gets fed first. And then when they've had enough, go and take what you need. Perhaps today, as we think about this deadly sin of gluttony, as we think about the virtue of abstinence, that perhaps today when we prepare, perhaps we're going to go off to brunch after church this morning. Perhaps I've whetted your appetite that you're going to run off to Granada Hills and go to the Odyssey, my favorite restaurant. Whatever it is that you decide to do following worship today. Or perhaps you're one in our congregation who needs the benefit of our food pantry or of our brown bag lunch program. I pray that we might be reminded that we are interconnected with each other, and that when one suffers, we all suffer. And when one celebrates, we all celebrate. Whatever your need today, I pray that from the abundance of this congregation, and the programs that we have together, I pray that all of us, and when I say all of us, I don't just mean those of us in this room, but all of us in this world might receive our daily bread and give thanks for it. Next time you're at a restaurant and you've had your fill and you think about taking that portion home that you know that you'll probably throw away in 2 or 3 days' time, perhaps we can make a fresh commitment today that from the abundance that we get to have, we'll take that little portion and find someone who's just a little less fortunate than ourselves, so that we can't be accused of gluttony, but rather we can be accused of being gracious enough to give just a little bit away. And the people said, Amen. Amen. Would you pray with me? God, thank you for this opportunity to come together this morning and not to be beaten over the head by our own shortcomings or the shortcomings of the world, but rather to think about ways in which we can apply the spiritual principles and values that you teach us into our everyday living experience. Thank you that we do have an abundance to share. And thank you that we can find practical ways in which we can share that abundance, perhaps through our brown bag lunch program or our HopeNet ministry, to our shelters, to our new food pantry that will be opening in conjunction with our congregation at Mount Hollywood Congregational Church. But that we would find new ways in which we can share from the abundance that some might call gluttony, and beyond us to the world, to the haves and the have-nots. And to be reminded that we are all connected as sisters and brothers. And the reality that even within our own congregation, some who have been so faithful in giving to so many different things, in these times of economic challenge, have also known that they can benefit from those same programs that they have given to in the past. And so, God, we pray now that you would take the words that have come from my mouth, not allow them to return to you without inspiring us, challenging us, helping us to think about our own daily bread and how we might share that as a community of faith. Bless these words so that they may be made real in our lives, to the honor and glory of the one who brought them into being, God.